welcome to another episode of Tech About Town, brought to you by Communitech and Elevate IP. I'm Alex Kinsella.
And I'm Allison Peel.
I was thinking about this as I was coming into the hub today, which is we haven't actually talked about what the podcast is, and it's over a year and a half, I think, now.
Yeah.
I lost track. It's been a while since we've been
June
doing
of
this.
24.
There you go. So a little over a year.
and a half.
So if you're new to the podcast or you're coming back, just to let you know, so Tech About Town continues a long tradition of Communitech media, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
There was a column called Tech About Town that my friend Kaylee wrote for a long time.
Yep.
Then B. San wrote it for a little bit. Then I wrote it for a little bit. And now we turned it into a podcast. And the goal of the podcast is to bring in founders and community leaders and different organizations to kind of talk about that intersection. It's a buzzword, the intersection of, but the intersection of tech and business and arts and culture and all the things that make Waterloo Region interesting and a fun place to live, hopefully. Yep. And hopefully you enjoy it. Today on the show, we're actually bringing in two longtime tech legends into the studio. But before I introduce them, I'm going to read my spiel that I wrote this morning.
All right.
There's two awkward conversations children and their parents will have in their lives. The first is when they try to talk to you about sex. Super awkward. The second is when you have to tell them you need help to take care of them as their physical or mental health declines. It's an awkward conversation. We're both Gen X.
Yep.
We're starting to have these.
Yeah.
There are over 71 million people acting as caregivers for their parents in North America who spend an average of 26 hours a week with everything from grocery shopping to providing health and wellness care to driving to appointments and everything else you can imagine. It's a burden that we should all take on with grace, but a little help wouldn't hurt. It's also 100%. A journey that we're going to talk about that's a very lonely one. So we have two of Waterloo Region's most respected and experienced founders are taking on this challenge with their new venture, Elderella. It's a coordinated system that brings all the different elder care tasks into one place to ease the load on families who are supporting their loved ones. I'm going to gas our guest up. Can't help it. I'm a fanboy.
Love it.
Jacqui Murphy is a member of the Pickstream Mafia. If you know what that is, you know what that is.
If you don't, Google it.
Yeah, and I actually have a whole spreadsheet that shows you.
Oh,
love it. It's a very nerdy thing. Jacqui's led the marketing teams at Fongo and Avik. She was also a partner of one of the region's first VC firms, Tech Capital Partners. She's also an awesome person to travel with, which we'll talk about. Mike Kirkup, the other co-founder, is making his second appearance on the show and brings an equally impressive CV from BlackBerry to Velocity to Empowered and Arload. We're going to have an episode about that as well. Welcome to the studio. We're very excited to have you in and have you back.
Yes.
For the second time. You're our first repeat guest.
Yes.
So you have that distinction now. And then we're going to book a third one. So you will be the first with 3 appearances.
I'm very excited.
So
Claim to fame.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good one. So I did my research. I do research for every episode. This was a little bit of different research. So Elderella is new. It's your new venture. You're doing discovery calls. I signed up for one. We had a conversation yesterday. How did that go? Did I do okay?
You did great.
I always feel nervous when I do, I'll sign up for any feedback thing of any app or service I'm using. They're like, do you want to jump on a 30-minute call? I'm like, of course I do. I like giving feedback, but then I'm always like, is my feedback good for you? Because then I don't want to waste your time.
Yeah. So one of the things that we've discovered with these discovery calls is that there's a whole spectrum of caregiving. And it's been really interesting to see where people fall on that caregiving journey. So there are people who are at the beginning stages of caregiving and just starting to think about what it might look like, starting to do a little bit of planning. Then there are the people who are in the thick of it and feeling acute pain. And then there are people who are on the tail end and they're reflecting on their caregiving journey. And so I would say with every single conversation that we have had so far, there isn't one conversation that I have had, I don't know about you, Mike, where I haven't learned something, either like a tip from somebody in terms of their caregiving journey or, reflections on their caregiving journey that are so insightful for others who are embarking on this part of their life. Yeah. So yeah, you did great, Alex.
I did okay. I just didn't want to waste time. I didn't want to waste your time.
Yeah.
That's how I approach
no wasting
my stuff that I do. Hopefully this podcast doesn't waste your time either. So the thing that we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff today. The thing I want to kick it off on is you both have extensive experience as founders, as leaders in tech companies, from startups to enterprise companies, global expansion. What attracted you to this problem? Like, how did you come together on this? Like, what's your, I mean, you both know each other and we all know each other, but what was your kind of origin story to come together and identify this problem and get to where you are right now?
That's all you.
Well, I mean, no, because you were also looking at the space, right? So I think we both have different journeys in terms of how we got to this as the issue that we wanted to tackle. And also then there's the story about how we came together to do this as a group. But my origin story is my parents are getting older, and not just parents, right? There's also extended family that's also getting older. And as they've started to encounter different things in their lives, I've obviously leaned in because I love them dearly. And the thing that's really interesting about caring for older people in your family is that you don't really expect it to happen. And then all of a sudden you're in the thick of it, right? Like it happens all of a sudden. And it's not something that you plan. You know, Mike and I were talking about like pregnancy, right? So if you're having a baby, it's something that most of the time you plan, and you have 9 months between, well, some people have less than 9 months, but ideally you have 9 months and your employer knows about it and you're able to work it into your life. And
it's a visible change. You look at someone and you're like, you're pregnant,
Exactly.
right? Like it's not, you're caring for your parent. Like there's no sign that that's actually happening.
Yeah, and you can care for your parent with nobody knowing.
Nobody.
Yeah, it could just be
Right?
bags under your eyes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Big bags under your eyes,
Or
a lot
you
of
just-
miles on your car.
Yeah, or you're distant at work, right? Like you're a bit scattered because your brain is trying to do all of the things and be all the people that you are in your lives. And like, so a lot of people talk about is they just feel really lonely and isolated and not at their best.
Yeah, so my caregiving journey started about 3.5 years ago, leaning in a little bit more with my mom. And I just, in working through all the different issues that she was experiencing, I realized that like a lot of the issues are not issues that even need to be issues, right? The actual care itself is wonderful. Like hanging out with your parents is awesome. But all of the stuff around it is a lot of administration and extra tasks that are really unnecessary. So that's sort of my origin story. Just realizing that, you know, taking my operationally focused brain and looking at this problem and thinking there can be a better way is why I started down this path. And then Mike has a different.
Yeah. So obviously exited my last startup, which we weren't successful at. And so I was looking for something to do. And I went into what are the different problems that are out there in the world. And I have like a whole long list of a whole bunch of different ones. And some of the times when you're doing research on what you should work on, and I knew I wanted to run another startup. One, because I had so many lessons learned that it was like, it would feel like a waste to not use them. But I think the other side was right now with AI, the leverage that a new company has is like, it's an insanely awesome time to start a company. Like I just, and we can talk about that later, but like even the things that we're doing differently as we build this company is just super, super cool. So I'm doing a whole bunch of research and you start scanning headlines of problems, right? Just like you're reading the newspaper and you're like, what are the problems in the world, right? And like headline after headline after headline is senior gets scammed, senior gets scammed, senior gets scammed.
Yeah.
It is crazy.
There's one in the record today.
Yeah, it is like, it's literally every day. And I'm like, there's gotta be a solution to this problem. And so that kind of ended up, and then it was like, oh my gosh, there's a whole bunch of seniors and they're all having like, and then you start doing market research and everything else. So I came at it from a different direction. And then, you know, Jacqui found me and we can talk about how that happened. We sat down, had tea and coffee together and we're like, yeah, we should work together.
Yeah. Best decision ever.
I want to know like how that happened.
Yeah.
Because you mean you're both, I was in the show notes. I'm like, I'm going to gas you guys up. I'm a very big fan of both of you. Worked with both of you in different ways, traveled. Good
Yes.
conference.
I want to know about travel. I read that.
We went to, it was my best conference experience ever. It was a great conference.
What conference?
It
I
was
know.
Traction Conf in Vancouver.
Okay.
Like 2015, 2016. something.
I don't even know what you're talking about. That's so long ago. We weren't even alive then, Alex.
We weren't.
I'm with Jacqui.
It was no. I actually remember it. Very short side note. We go to a lot of conferences. You've been to a ton of conferences.
Yeah.
We've spoken at conferences. Generally, I'm bored, right? Like I'm there for the networking and then like the party after. And this one, every speaker, I still have the notes in my Apple Notes that I took during it. Like it was just really great. I mean, they're probably out of date insights now, but at the time, I'm like, this is a really good session. This is a good session. Great speaker. And then the peak for me was, this is such a weird aside. I was at the conference, you were somewhere, and I was coming back up the elevator, and some people were like, oh, are you here for Traction Conf? I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm here for. They're like, do you want to come to dinner with us? And I'm like, I don't even know who you are. This is fantastic. I already have plans, unfortunately, but like, I've never been invited to dinner with strangers at a conference before. I don't know. That's a weird.
Love it.
It's a core memory. I have weird core
What
memories.
it's all about. Yeah.
Such weird core memories.
We could do a whole show.
We
on
do
it.
that.
So how we connected.
Yeah, because I mean, you've both done you've great careers to date, right? And so how do you then how did you kind of come together on this idea and want to work together? Because like again, not to gas you up, but I'll gas you up. It's kind of like a power team.
Thank you. So I mean, I don't even think Mike knows this story. So here we go.
I do actually, but we have never had this conversation.
Oh,
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So I mean, it's Communitech, right? We've known each other forever.
Yeah.
I've been noodling on this idea for a while, looking for a technical co-founder, and Communitech is, I think, in the process of launching a program. I don't know if it's actually been launched yet for experienced entrepreneurs, executives who are looking to do something again, and tapped me on the shoulder, said, hey, will you come in and do a user discovery session similar to what we're doing at Elderella now, in terms of what you're looking for, what you would love to get out of a group of peer type interactions. And so I came in, met with Allison, and essentially described to her what my ideal environment would be, and that my number one objective at the moment was to find a technical co-founder. Mm-hmm. And so I was super curious about who else she was talking to, because I'm like, maybe there's somebody on the list that I can talk to. So she flipped the page and she said, Mike Kirkup, and then she went to flip again, and I went, wait, what? Can you flip that page back, please? And so I left that meeting and I reached out to Mike right away and said, hey, I've been noodling on this idea, and I'm wondering if I could just run it by you, because you were
and I
in
said,
transition.
really great timing. I literally just had my last day on Friday, and I have no idea what I'm going to do now.
Which I knew, but I wasn't
I was like,
sure if I was supposed to know. But
see, hence why we've never had this conversation.
right?
That's KW for you.
Yeah.
We all know stuff we're not
Yeah.
supposed to know.
Anyways, thank you, Communitech.
Yeah.
That's
Huge
cool.
value.
See?
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is awesome.
Yeah.
Program is still piloting, so not fully launched, but yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah.
Well, the matching is so critical because you just don't know who's looking, whether you're a technical or a business co-founder, and you don't know where to go. So it is.
That's right. Yeah. The power of collision and the power of leaning in, right? Like leave your house, because if you leave your house, you bump into people, or if you participate in things, you find out about opportunities. That's definitely a life lesson.
Great things happen outdoors.
They sure do.
Yeah.
Go outside.
That's cool. Okay, so that's a cool origin story, and that you both were thinking about that problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we had on Taj from
Cognitive
with a
systems.
C.
Yep.
Always not the other cognitive. And, you know, we're both kind of going through that. And that's kind of the reason I was excited to do the discovery call. So as you're kind of now going through this, how do you, from the customer discovery side, how do you approach that to like coming up with what your alpha or prototype? And the thing that I'm, just to go back on the AI side of things, I hadn't thought about that, right? So years ago when like AWS started spinning up and you could, a founder could build something, a prototype really quickly, right? You had all these cool frameworks, whether it was React or whatever, and Node, and you could stand up a website with a back end and go.
Yeah.
And with AI, it's even easier, right? Because now you can do vibe coding and
100%.
build a prototype. You talked before, like last time we had you on, about like AI native, right? And those are going to be the things. So is your product AI native, or is it not just the product, but it's also the startup itself is like the business is AI native.
Yeah. So the product itself will have AI in it.
Yeah.
We'll never use any of our marketing to say that it's AI blank, blank, blank. It's no different than when you and I were doing mobile back in the day and we had a GPS to the devices. It's like for a year or two, everybody was like, hey, we have location-based services. And then it's just like, we have a mobile app. Like, obviously we're using the location if it's relevant, and if it's not, then we don't. So every app eventually will use AI. The AI native part, from my perspective, comes into how you actually build the product and then how are you building the company. And so, like, really great example of one of the things we built early on is that startups get really myopically focused on either heavily paying attention to competition, understanding the market, who's in it, what are they doing, all the different players, or they go the opposite direction and they do none of that. And they go like, I don't care about any competitors, we're just going to go. And I was like, I don't want to do either of those. I don't want to spend a ton of time out here researching and everything else, but I also don't want to be blind. And so I spent, I think it was a morning, building a tool that we just have a spreadsheet that has 2 columns, and Jacqui's expanded it since then, but literally 2 columns. It's the name of the competitor and their website. And every Monday morning, this tool wakes up, goes to their website, does a competitive analysis of their website against our strategy, and then gives us a battle card for each one. And I can get a summary of all of our competitors, of which there are now, like, we think 11 or whatever, that are kind of related to the space we're in 5 minutes of reading. It is crazy. And that's what I mean by AI native, because people don't do that, right? Like, if you think about competitive analysis, that's like a big task. It's a lot of work. Yeah. And as soon as Jacqui would send me a website and I started reading, I'm like, what am I doing? We have tools to do this way better.
Yeah.
And the key part was not just I can read their website, because when we internalize our website for competitive analysis, we're checking against what our plan is. And so the key part was, here's a document that outlines what our current strategy is, which itself is actually really helpful to write down, right? And articulate, and then have that match against, right? And the reality is, the crazy part of what we're trying to do is not solving elder care, because there's a lot of companies that are out there trying to do that. We're trying to do it for the caregiver in a business to consumer model. And that very few people are trying. They're all trying to sell to retirement homes or hospitals or doctors or some business in the chain. No one is going to the caregiver and going, we will help you.
Yeah. So instead of like a long-term care home being your client, and then they give it as a value add to the residents.
Yeah.
You're B2C, right to the caregiver.
And a lot of people correctly don't like that. They realize that the elder is not the person to sell to.
Yeah.
So it really is the caregiver, in our opinion, but we'll let you know what we find out.
Yeah.
Through some of your discovery calls, what would you say has been identified as the biggest challenge for most people?
Oh, geez. I mean, juggling all the balls.
Yeah.
Right? There's just so many things happening at the same time, and things are way more complex than they need to be. So one of the things that was drilled into my head in university from my marketing professor in university is, you are not the target audience, right? So one of the things that we've been really careful about doing from the get-go, while we have experienced caregiving ourselves, we're really trying not to say this is a product for me. And so we're validating and trying to, through these discovery calls, identify all of the issues and really then hone in on the key ones where we think we might be able to add value. So while I was feeling that there were just way too many things happening at the same time, way too many things that didn't need to be happening, and things could be much more simple, that's definitely something that has come through loud and clear.
I would say the most common thing I heard in my calls was they feel they're invisible, or it's an invisible load. Yeah. It's like a shockingly common statement, and they don't talk to their friends about it because their friends don't want to hear about it anymore. They may or may talk to their siblings, but that has its own dynamics. They may agree on care and a whole bunch of other challenges, or may not. They may be doing the ostrich thing where they're like, hey, I'm just going to put my head in the sand and it doesn't exist. Mom's fine. Right. So there's a lot of challenges there. And so they just feel really, really isolated, and they feel like they got to put the face on to tell everybody else in their lives that everything is okay. When the most common phrase I heard for people who were later in the journey was, I'm beyond burnt out. Like I don't have a word for what that is, but that's what it feels like.
And knowledge is power. That's another big thing. Just having a ton. So they're not talking to people, right? They're very isolated and alone, as Mike said. But just one little nugget of information that is shared between two people is so incredibly valuable and unlocks an entire opportunity for them in terms of their caregiving journey. So, if there's a way that we can even just bring people together to share and to like put their hands up and say, like I also am going through this, or even just sharing that knowledge through the product that we're building, I think it's going to be incredibly valuable.
I would agree. Like my journey started 2 weeks after they shut the world down with my mother.
Great.
So that was, and then it was like out of the city. And then like when you said it's not like pregnancy where it's like gradual, right? All of a sudden we were in the thick of it. And I remember saying to my husband, I thought I would be older, like, and not have such young kids or so needy. Like, not that my kids will ever not be needy. I don't know. But, like it's just one of those things where all of a sudden you're just thrown into it. And it's like, okay, she has to be in London. And then I have a 5-year-old that has to be like, it was just crazy. And so this, I think, would be a huge, huge asset to so many people.
Yeah. And it's the just-in-time learning.
Yes.
Right? Because it's unexpected. It's not something that you've taken a course in or that you've prepared for necessarily. Like there are the things that people prepare for, things like getting the wills organized, getting the power of attorney organized, basic things like that. Even those things aren't that basic, but it's the other things that are unexpected that you never thought that you would have to deal with, that you have to deal with all of a sudden. And then where do you go to get that knowledge? You don't have the network to be able to access the resources. Like there's so many things in terms of this just-in-time learning that you don't even realize you need to know until you need to know it, and you need to know it acutely, right, in that moment.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy because you feel so helpless, and so you just want to do something. And so people will sit beside a hospital bed or whatever triggers it, and they just Google stuff because they feel like they're doing something, right? And I know I don't have all the knowledge I need to have. I don't know where I'm going to find it. And so I'm just going to start Googling things to see if it just randomly finds me. It is like you're in crisis. It really is. Like there's typically a trigger that causes you to be in crisis. And then it's like, all right, we're go time. We got to figure this out. But there is no what to expect when you're expecting book for elder care, right?
And oftentimes it's just all of a sudden, sadly, a tragic incident or a diagnosis, and it just comes, and it's like, now what? Now where do I go? And then Googling can be beneficial, but then also it's like the whole good old fashioned Dr. Google, and like, is it right? Is it wrong? I don't know what's happening. And so it's a huge journey for so many people.
And Google doesn't give you the roadmap.
No.
Right? It gives you the point in time information, but it doesn't necessarily say, oh, and by the way, and then you're going to have to deal with this.
Yeah.
Oh, and in 3 years from now, you probably should be aware that this is most likely going to happen given the roadmap that you're on. Right?
Yeah.
So it's the medical professionals know.
Yeah.
Right? If it's a medical situation that you're dealing with, they know that this is the progression of whatever it is that you're dealing with. But as a caregiver, you don't have that information. And so you just don't know what you don't know. Yeah. And that's, if you don't know, it's really intimidating and it's stressful and you just can't plan.
And the other side of it is, and when you become a parent, and it's such a great analogy, when you become a parent, you want to be a good parent. Like, again, to your point, most people plan for this. And children looking after their parents want to be good caregivers. They want to take care of their parents in the same way that they were taken care of, and as a general statement. But that doesn't mean that you want to be the world's expert on how to safely transfer someone from a bed to a wheelchair, right?
Yeah.
So like there is this kind of like, I want to learn not just in time, but just enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very
And
true.
capacity,
Yep.
right? Like how much capacity do you have to actually learn when you're in the fire?
Yep.
Not a lot. Yeah.
That's true. And then being respectful of like my situation, and I haven't booked my discovery call yet, but I will. It's now we're also in the like trying to be respectful of what my parents want, but recognizing that their situation right now has to change because it's just not manageable anymore. But then trying to have that conversation.
Yeah.
And like without because again, they're my parents and I love them and they gave me life and they put a roof over my head and all of the great things that they did. But now I'm acting as a parent.
Yeah.
And that's the dynamic that you have to be kind of tread really lightly on.
Yeah. And the psychology is something that we talk a lot about.
Yeah.
Because there's the adult child, psychology around the adult child.
Yeah.
There's the psychology between siblings, so family dynamics. There's the psychology of the elder that you're caring for, right? Who's going through all sorts of transitions themselves. And like exactly what you said, you want to have this underlying level of respect across the entire playing field. So trying to design that into our product thinking as well.
Do demographic shifts kind of affect look at your roadmap? So baby boomers, do we still see baby boomers getting older? I guess they are. Right? Yeah,
They're still baby boomers.
But then you also have like younger generations are getting married later and then having children later, which means they will have your situation, young children, elderly parents, and kind of burning the candle at both ends. Do you, through the discovery calls and just kind of research, like how does that impact what you're doing?
Yeah, I would say like so much of being a really great entrepreneur is honestly just timing, right? I mean, we just could argue we get lucky because no one has solved this problem very well. And there's a whole bunch of boomers who are about to be over the age of 65, like 30% of or 25% of the population in Canada and the United States will be over the age of 65 in 2030. Right, like this is a massive, as I called it a wave, and then Jacqui corrected me and said it's a tsunami. Right, I lovingly refer to it as the silver tsunami, but we didn't make up these terms, but it's coming. Right, it's a huge portion, and so we couldn't make those demographics happen, but they're certainly going to be influential and impactful on the business.
Yeah, and we talk about too the generations that we're building for. Right, like we are right now building for the Gen Xers. Hey, Gen Xers. Woohoo. All the hands in the studio are in the air right now. And millennials.
Yeah.
Right. And we are a very eclectic, interesting, fun-loving, scrappy, feral group of people. Right. And so how do you build a product that is going to try to inject, I hesitate to say joy because it's not joy, but we don't want to add burden. We don't want to add heaviness. And so we're also trying to capture that in our product design and development. Is like, how do we make this like almost like a fitness experience or a motivational experience that, it celebrates you as a caregiver, right? Because you're not invisible. Like you shouldn't be invisible. This work that you're doing is so incredibly important.
It's like injecting the calm almost, like giving that surrounding where you just feel good and safe and happy maybe, but like, heard, seen.
Yeah. You exist. Yeah. You matter. Right.
Yeah.
That kind of a feeling.
It's an interesting one, right? Because I never thought about it, never thought as a caregiver being invisible until you kind of brought it up today. But it is that very much that mindset. You feel alone. You don't have the resources. You don't have a community to do that. Community as a feature is a big thing in a lot of products right now. Are you looking at that? And if you are looking at that, kind of how do you find that focus that makes it unique and it's not just a Facebook group or, whatever BS that's out there?
Look, I'm going to jump back to the first part of that because Jacqui's got a great answer to the community thing. But to your point, they're not alone. And I think this is actually a huge part of the problem. It's that the coordination of all of the stuff is so overwhelming and so much burden that it's not worth involving other people to get help. Because if there are tons of people in our lives who, if you put up your hand in a very public place and said, I am struggling right now and I need help, the first thing they would say is, okay, how can I help?
Yeah.
And now you're like, oh my gosh, I can't give you all this information. I have no time. I can't. It's like, it takes me too much effort to make a list of all the things I need help with than to just do them myself. And so if there's a way to unlock that, to be like, hey, you can help, here's what I need you to do, and to make that really easy and have the context and everything else that you need to be able to do it, then they will ask for help more. It's just that we've been limited to date by the fact that it's just so hard to actually, like, not just from a pride perspective, ask for help, but also like to actually get all the information or whatever necessary to say, yes, you can take this from me.
Kind of that mindset. It's just easier to do yourself.
100%.
Like, it's already all up here. I just got to make time, figure it out, put a better schedule together, check stuff off. And instead of saying, Mike, I really need whatever it is, right?
And it's like it very quickly becomes like a self-reinforcing pattern because it's like, oh, well, Allison's got it. Yeah. I don't need to do anything. I don't even need to offer help anymore. Allison's got it. And then it just becomes worse and worse, right? Yeah. And there's a ton of help. There's so many people in these broader communities that are kind of like adjacent, but not maybe close family or whatever, that you could lean on to be like, I just need someone to bring dad's garbage in, out to the curb on every Friday morning and back into the garage on Friday. He can't do it. I live in a different town. It would be so great if someone could help. Someone would gladly, a neighbor would do that to be able to help in a heartbeat.
100%.
How do you find them? How do you make that easy? Like this is a very solvable problem.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to go back to that, like wanting to be a good parent and that visibility of you're a parent and people offer help, but you don't have that when you're a caregiver. But I think of all the things of being a parent that you just get help with. Parents, grandparents taking kids to sports or neighbors walking your kid to school. It's so easy because it is so visible. Mm-hmm. And also those things they're all structured already. And you're unlocking that now because the elder care is not discoverable. That's things you need help with.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I was exploring this as an area that I wanted to lean in on, I actually looked at the parenting market and I tried to draw parallels between what exists for parents, what exists for people who are providing care to their parents. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing. I mean, there's stuff, but it's not nearly the same amount of resources that are. So if anybody's out there looking for business ideas, there's so much opportunity in this elder market in so many different ways. So, yeah.
And like you said, demographically, it has made it a huge opportunity right now. Like we've got so many folks coming to that area or into that age group that they're going to need more and more help.
Yeah. And all hands on deck. Yes. Seriously.
Yeah.
Like this tsunami that's coming, we need everybody to lean in terms of how are we going to figure this out? Because 100%. We are in big trouble if we don't all start thinking about this and acting on it.
100%.
Yeah.
So as you're approaching this problem now, you're going through customer discovery. You had a founders meeting this morning. What do you kind of look in time frame like as you go? Like not to say like when are you launching, right? Yeah. But it's like this is an interesting one because like you're taking lessons from all your experiences, the AI native ways of approaching competitive analysis. Do you kind of like does that alter your roadmap of how you think about prototypes and alphas and betas and things like that?
Yeah. So within, I don't know, we were a week old, I think. I was like, we're going to build something. And we called it in linear throwaway prototype. We had every intention of throwing it away. We had no plans to actually build it, but, and use it. It turns out it'll actually be a really important part of our onboarding, but we didn't know that at the time, but we literally called it throwaway prototype. And it was a resource that we were going to build to allow people to come in, chat with a chatbot, and it would generate a care plan. Here's where you're at. Here's what's going to happen. And here's what you need to prepare for, some tasks to think about, and so on. And we built that in 3 or 4 days. It was super fast. Right?
Mike.
You're a team.
Yeah. I tested it.
There's no I in team.
Feedback.
So it was built really, really quickly. But part of the value of being able to not just build it quickly and everything else was we realized very quickly that we were going to be holding a whole bunch of really sensitive health information. And I have been through almost every industry in my career, feels like, but healthcare was not one of them. And I'm like, like we've got, HIPAA, we've got HIPAA, we've got all these things. Like this is a mess. it's not a mess. It's actually shockingly easy to build a system now that is HIPAA compliant from the very beginning. Like I can't actually even articulate how easy it is relative to even like 3 years ago. Like it actually blows my mind how easy it is to build something today. And so we talk about like all these foundational pieces that have been built, right? The AWSs, the Google Clouds, like all those different things that allow you now to be able to like, I don't even have to worry about that. Like to sign the business associate agreement with Google, because that's the cloud platform we chose for a whole bunch of reasons. Happy to bore people to death with that. But to sign that agreement that says that they're not allowed to inspect our servers because we have personal health information on them, even though it's encrypted and everything else, they can't look at the keys. They can't do any of these things according to the agreement, was a click through. I didn't even have to talk to a human. Like that is crazy awesome. So yeah, we're well down the path of a very complicated thing that we're building already. That will, be able to do a whole bunch of these different pieces.
Love that.
On the flip side of AI, and we had talked about this on an episode of the podcast
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Well, time's a construct. You have a website, you have a logo, you have branding. Marketing is your forte. You have marketing built, like it seems to us, marketing built in from the core, like already, right? Because how old is the company? Like it's like a month?
Yeah, maybe a month. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So we put the pedal to the metal to be ready for Tech Week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Because when we talked about how we were going to participate in Tech Week, Mike was on a couple of panels. We had literally just started the company. And what we really needed out of Tech Week was user discovery. And so we agreed that we were just going to go full tilt and make sure that there was enough information out there so that people could see that this is a real thing. We're really doing this. We're two people that have a lot of experience and integrity.
Yeah.
And we used that Tech Week and also a little tiny mini launch of the company to encourage people to reach out to us so that we could have these discovery interviews with people. So that is really all we have done from a marketing perspective. Our go-to-market strategy right now is just talking to people. Yeah. And through those conversations, through those learnings, we are building the go-to-market strategy. I would say we have a bunch of different ideas in terms of go-to-market at this point, but absolutely, I mean, we're going into B2C, which is not an area that either of us have extensive experience in. I mean, we are Cs, so we've experienced B2C a lot, but it is different. And so really just listening, learning, trying to put flags in places where we need to have flags as fast as we possibly can. And then just listening and learning and trying to be super strategic. So the marketing that we're doing at this point is learning, which is fundamental to any effective marketing strategy. Absolutely. And even your go-to-market tactics, right, have to be informed by really good understanding of your market. So listening to customers is our number one.
Where did the name come from? I love it. So
yeah,
love the story.
I love it too. So it's a play on Cinderella, obviously. Yeah. But the concept is the product is ultimately Elderella, right? Cinderella.
Yeah.
And so it's so everybody can go to the ball, right? And so it's like offload some of your chores, some of the things, right? Be more efficient, find ways to just, right, get through all of the things that you need to get through in order to have the time to sit down and have that cup of tea with your parent or, you know, look through some of your family heirlooms and hear the stories, right? Everybody talks about, I really want to capture the stories that my parents have to tell me, but I'm so busy getting groceries, or I'm so busy paying bills, or I'm so busy taking them to appointments that we never actually have that quality time. So that's essentially where the name came from.
Love that.
And it was awesome to join a company where it was already baked. Like Jacqui had like the idea, she had all those pieces like in terms of the branding and the name and everything else. I was like, great. I don't have to spend any time thinking about this because it is really hard.
It is.
Really, really, really hard. I was like, great, let's go.
Yeah. And I also have have done this enough times to know that it doesn't matter what you pick, right? Just pick something and just build around the something that you pick. I mean, it matters to a certain extent, but at the end of the day, what you build around the naming and the colors and the logo and the whatever matters way more than what you actually pick for those things. So just pick it, get on with it, and start building, right?
Be confident in that decision.
Yeah, just be confident and just own it and just go.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We're excited. You're going to book your discovery call.
I am.
Yes. And shout out to everybody who's listening. If you are a fabulous caregiver of, the people that you love in your life, we would love, 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 love to speak with you. There is a form on our website.
We will have that on the show notes and on the social post along with that.
Yeah. Thank you.
100%.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming in. We'll have you back in again soon. You can be our second guest who came on for 2 episodes. So we'll find something else.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know that there's anything else going on in my life. But if there is, I'll let you know.
I'm sure we can find something.
We'll do an episode where I'll walk you through like 10-year-old slide decks from that conference.
Oh,
and
that
travel
was
with
so
Jacqui.
Fun.
They said.
Oh my gosh.
I also remember because we came back and then it was Taco Fest. So I went to Taco Fest and then Vidyard had their space and it was above the museum. And then I went to a Vidyard party. So I felt like a jet setter.
Whoa. Yeah.
Where now I don't. I just go between,
accelerators.
Ethel's in the market is basically my life right now.
No, you seem pretty
I
cool
used to
me.
go places.
Me too.
Yeah. Anyways. Well, thank you again. And
Thank you.
We'll talk to you soon.
Very easy. Awesome episode.
That was a good conversation. I didn't, because we work on the questions ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
It's always interesting to me where the conversation goes. So like the whole like AI native as a company development versus not even just the product, but the company. The competitive analysis thing was pretty cool.
I love that. It's a great opportunity. Mike nailed it, right? It's easy to start using some of the technology right in front of you to make your life easier.
And I do like an origin story that involves meeting through Communitech.
Yep, I love that.
Because that checks the box.
Yep, it does.
For the podcast. Yay.
It does for the podcast, for Communitech. Mike's been a long time supporter and Jacqui has as well for Communitech. So it was really great that we were able to help facilitate bringing them back together or together, I guess, not back together.
There's a lot of conversations around what does the region need and what do we need and blah, blah, blah. And I think it's just getting out of your comfort space, whether that's your house or your office or whatever, and go to an event, go to a meetup, wherever it happens to be. It could be Communitech or the AC or Catalyst. I went to an event in Magnet's office last night, the one that we had a guest on for social camp. And I hadn't been I've never actually been in that building, but I hadn't been in those 4, I call it Alphabet City, never caught on, but I've never been there. I haven't been back there since like 2014.
That's because if you weren't from RIM, you didn't know they were A, B, C, D.
Yeah. I've never been in C. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, Nova, our HR manager, went to that event yesterday.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it is. And you said you had a good point in just now with Mike and Jacqui. You went to an event in Barcelona. I don't know where you were. And then someone randomly was like, hey, are you for this? Vancouver.
Yeah.
You were, are you for the Traction Conference? Yeah. Well, you want to come for dinner with us? It can happen here in Waterloo region too. It doesn't have to happen in Vancouver or Barcelona or Bali or Hong Kong. So get out and get there and meet people and be open to chatting. But I think some people are just trying to come out of their shells again, maybe a little bit more.
Well, if you're looking for ways to connect and go to do stuff out in town, you can always visit communitech.ca, check out the events calendar. It has events that are happening everywhere.
Yep.
It's always a good resource to check out. Also, if you are a founder or thinking about becoming a founder, or you work in tech, you're looking for a little bit of help, you don't have to do that alone. Visit communitech.ca, learn about all the programs and services they offer you across town. And that's all I have for today. That's it.
Yep.
I'm done.
Easy peasy.
Are you done?
I'm done.
All right. Again, if you have any questions, you can always connect with us on social media at Communitech on all the social platforms, pretty much. Never checked, actually, Blue Sky. Are we on Blue Sky?
No, we're not on Blue Sky. So I guess not all the platforms. And we're not on Threads, but still on Instagram.
All right. Thanks again.
Thanks, everybody.